discover the miraculous truth of Thelema. 3 divine revelations from Liber AL vel Legis Unveiled. In the heart of a quaint English village, where rolling hills cradle the soft whispers of faith, lived Grace, a devoted woman known for her nurturing spirit. Her laughter echoed in the church, intertwining with the hymns that beckoned villagers to worship. But as her father's strength waned, the air thickened with despair. He lay weakened by illness, and the once joyful village turned somber, their fervent prayers directed to St. Jude, the patron saint of desperate situations. As the sun dipped below the horizon, bathing the village in golden hues, something miraculous began to stir. Grace stumbled upon a dusty parchment, the first page of Liber AL vel Legis, a text whispered of in hushed tones. A light flickered in her heart as words pulsed with divine energy. The seeker shall find, break your chains, and embrace the profound truth. In the days that followed, the church community dove into fervent prayer. One night, voices thick with earnestness filled the chapel, candle flames flickering like stars. Then the first revelation struck Grace. Each individual holds a sacred will that shapes their destiny. Her heart warmed. Was her father's fate merely subject to prayers? Or was there a greater purpose waiting to be unveiled? But doubt crept in as skeptics emerged, questioning her visions. They whispered of her straying from tradition, the weightiness of established doctrine hanging over her like a storm cloud. Grace felt the pressure. The tension seeped into her bones, and she struggled. Still, she clung to the revelations, burdened yet hopeful. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the candlelit vigil drew nearer, the village gathered, hearts entwined in shared hope. The flames danced with an ethereal shimmer, and an inexplicable hush fell over the crowd. Then, in a moment of miraculous clarity, a radiant light enveloped the chapel. Gasps filled the air as Grace's father, once frail, stood. He rose, strong as the hills surrounding them. Tears streamed down Grace's face. The community erupted in disbelief and joy. It was a miracle. When the embrace came, it radiated love, healing not just her father but the hearts of all gathered. Whispers of divine intervention reverberated through the trembling leaves outside. Yet as the jubilant cries echoed, an unsettling thought lingered in Grace's spirit. Had she truly grasped the divine purpose embedded in her experiences, or was it but a fleeting miracle? As the village celebrated, the odds of descent began to loom over her journey, overshadowing her newfound faith and beckoning unanswered questions about belief and the essence of miracles. The air thrummed with anticipation. Grace felt an urgency tugging at her soul. She stood at a spiritual crossroads, bare and vulnerable, with the weight of her calling waiting just beyond the horizon. Uncharted yet lit with hope. Would she embrace these revelations leading her forward? Or would the skepticism that brewed in the shadows obscure the divine path ahead? The air was electric, charged with a mix of joy and uncertainty. Grace stood in the center of the chapel, her heart a symphony of gratitude and doubt. Around her, villagers celebrated the miracle. Yet within her lay a tempest of questions. Was this transformation a genuine manifestation of divine will, or merely an echo of her own desires? As the candles flickered, casting dancing shadows upon the stained glass, she felt a pull, a gentle nudge towards deeper understanding. Each joyous laugh resonated as a reminder of the sacred connection that danced through their hearts. But where did her own truth fit into this jubilant tapestry? In the days that followed, the village buzzed with tales of her father's restoration. They journeyed to her home, offering kindness, food, and warmth. Yet amidst the laughter and stories shared, Grace began to feel the weight of expectation. Was her father's miracle meant for her alone? Or was it a signal for something greater? Grace found herself wandering the cobblestone paths of her village, seeking solace in quiet moments. She often sat by the village stream, letting the gentle water wash over her turmoil. The sound, like whispered prayers, beckoned her deeper into reflection. One evening, while the sun dipped low, casting colors of amber and rose across the sky, another revelation shimmered before her. "Your will aligns with the divine," the ancient words echoed in her mind. It wasn't just about voicing wishes or holding hope. It was about embracing the divine will infused in every heartbeat, every breath. The weight of her role in this divine narrative began to settle in. But as clarity dawned, doubt resurfaced. What if her interpretation led her astray? What if her father's miracle was merely a good stroke of luck, a misreading of what was meant to happen? She smiled to mask the uncertainty, yet her heart thudded. One night, while the village gathered once more, Grace stepped forward. "Brothers and sisters," she began, her voice quivering with fear and faith. "What if our miracles aren't just signs? What if they're calls to action?" Curiosity sparked among the villagers. They leaned in, the air thick with anticipation, as she continued. "If each heart holds a sacred will, then what must we do with it? Shall we stand by and observe, or shall we exert our will towards building a community rooted in faith, hope, and love?" Gasps rippled through the crowd, and whispers darted like fireflies. A mixture of enthusiasm and reluctance painted the reactions. Some agreed, feeling the same tug in their souls, while others eyed her doubts, questioning her newfound resolve. "You see," Grace pressed on, "our belief isn't passive. It's active. It has the power to transform not just our lives, but the very fabric of our community. We've tasted miracles, and now it's time to embody their essence." The villagers exchanged looks. Some eyes sparkled with recognition, others clouded with skepticism. As she stood there, hand over her heart, courage radiated. She felt the weight of spiritual convergence around her as the laughter faded into contemplative murmurs. A lone voice spoke, raising a question that hung delicately in the evening air. "But Grace, what if we fail?" In that moment the room froze. Fear hung heavy, a spiritual challenge etched into their reality. Would they embrace their fears as they took a step toward the unknown, or would they retreat into their comfort? Grace felt the crossroads shift yet again, knowing that the next steps were as vital as the miracle itself. This was where they must decide. What came next could change everything. What would they choose? The village simmered with possibilities, each heart a vessel ready to embrace change. Grace noticed the deep breaths of her neighbors, a collective inhalation filled with uncertainty, yet brimming with an unquenchable spark of hope. The question lingered in the air, like a whisper from the divine. What if we fail? But was failure truly the end? Or could it be a dawning of a deeper understanding? Days rolled into a week, and Grace became a beacon amid the ever-evolving thoughts of her community. Every morning, she gathered the villagers by the stream, a spot where nature danced with the divine. They shared tales, fears, and dreams, weaving them into a collective prayer. Each meeting reinforced their bond, stitching together a patchwork of faith that spoke louder than individual doubts. One dawn. The sunrise painted the horizon in magnificent hues of gold and violet. Grace felt an unusual urgency in her spirit. "Today," she proclaimed, her voice unwavering, "let us choose courage over comfort. Let us dare to stand firm in faith and act upon this miracle." Her words fell like seeds into fertile soil. Hope blossomed around her, igniting a desire to grow. It wasn't just about one miracle, but the potential for many. The villagers nodded, voices softly murmuring affirmations. Each voice grew stronger, swelling into a harmonious chorus of yes. "Let us." As they united in spirit, Grace felt a palpable energy surround them, a tapestry of shared ambition. They realized that action didn't mean risking failure. It meant embracing the opportunity to transform their lives. Fear shifted its weight, morphing into a call to arms seasoned with hope. The group decided to create a day of service for their community. They gathered supplies to help those in need, rekindling forgotten friendships with the elderly and offering companionship to the lonely. Every smile they exchanged, every helping hand offered, felt like a miracle unfolding in their own hearts. But with every act of kindness, Grace also felt the undercurrents of fear. What if their efforts weren't enough? What if they couldn't rise to the occasion? She glanced at her father, who, although restored, carried a quiet burden of expectation on his shoulders. He seemed to sense her uncertainty, resting a reassuring hand on hers. "Grace," he said softly, "miracles lie not in our perfection but in our willingness to try, no matter how small our steps may be." Renewed strength surged through her. Each day brimming with acts of service brought them closer, knitting them together as a family bound not just by blood, but by faith. As night fell, Grace stood before her neighbors, illuminated by a lantern-esque glow. The flickering flame mirrored the light growing within them. "Together, we've begun to unveil the miracle within our hearts," she said, her voice steady. "We've taken the first steps, but I sense there's something more waiting for us. Our actions may have sparked a journey, yet when we turn inwards, reflecting on our heart's desires, what will we discover?" Her question hung in the air, wrapped in silence. The villagers exchanged glances, pondering the depth of her words. What new revelations lay ahead for them? What other miracles awaited their collective spirit? Grace felt an immense thrill building inside her. As they stood on the brink of the unknown, she wondered, would they summon the courage to seek answers and unveil the true purpose behind their miraculous call? The horizon glowed with promise, yet the path stretched wide and uncertain. What awaited them on this divine journey? The moon hung high, a luminous guide illuminating the village bathed in silver. Grace stood alone by the still waters, the gentle ripple echoing the stirrings of her own heart. Tonight felt different. It held secrets yet to be unveiled. The quiet night wrapped around her like a comforting embrace, yet deep within her, anticipation built like a tide ready to breach its shore. As she gazed into the water, she wondered about the snatching threads of doubt still lingering in the corners of her mind. Would they be enough? Were they truly prepared for the calls that awaited them? An inner voice whispered softly, "Trust the unfolding." This wasn't just about them. This was woven into a greater tapestry of purpose. The following day dawned bright and clear. The villagers gathered once more by the stream, their faces eager, eyes shining with expectation. Grace felt the energy course between them, lifting their spirits. "Let us share our dreams," she encouraged, excitement bubbling like the stream beside them. "What do you desire to uncover together?" One by one they stepped forward. Old Mr. Thompson spoke of his dream to write stories of their ancestors, stories of bravery and hope that could inspire generations. A young girl, Lucy, fluttered with joy as she shared her wish to create a garden that would feed the community. Each dream was like a spark igniting a flame, brightening the collective spirit that thrived on their unity. As hearts intertwined and hopes flourished, Grace called for silence, her voice cutting through the peaceful hum. All these dreams, these desires, they are our heart's whispers, calling us toward divine purpose. They remind us that miracles are not just grand gestures but beautiful moments inspired by a higher love. The villagers nodded, each person absorbing the underlying truth of her words. It was becoming clearer these dreams were not just individual aspirations. They formed a mosaic of shared blessings. And so, they decided to restate their purpose, to uplift each other beyond mere acts of service. They would embrace the dreams of all, leaving behind self-doubt and stepping boldly into the realm of possibility. Yet as they started the day's endeavors, that familiar weight of fear crept back into Grace's heart. What if their pursuits turned out futile? How could they inspire others if they faltered? Just then, her gaze caught the elder's eyes, filled with wisdom and reassurance. He smiled knowingly. Every step is a dance between risk and the grace of possibility. Remember, dear one, it's in letting those fears surface that the divine breathes life into our paths. Emboldened by his words, Grace joined her neighbors in cultivating the dreams they collectively nurtured. As seeds of hope were planted, something beautiful began to take root not only in the soil but in their hearts. Each garden watered, each story shared, each friendship rekindled unveiled a deeper miracle unfolding within. Tonight, as they gathered under the stars, Grace stood in front of them, the night air vibrating with energy. Look around you. We are not just community. We are something greater. We are seekers of truth, carriers of light. Then, the air shimmered, and a gentle wind rustled among them. Grace closed her eyes, feeling a wave of presence wash over her. What if each of our dreams intertwines not just with our own story, but with a divine plan? What if this journey isn't solely for us but serves a purpose beyond our understanding? The villagers were still, the moment suspended, heavy with possibility. A collective realization bloomed. There was a call deeper than they had anticipated, waiting just beneath the surface. Would they dive into this mystery and uncover the truths that awaited them? What revelations lay ahead, ready to unfold like petals under the morning sun? The night deepened, and their journey into the unknown beckoned once more. The stars flickered like ancient candles, their light dancing above the villagers as they shared stories of dreams. A stillness enveloped them, allowing their hearts to breathe in the weight of the moment. Grace felt this stillness thrum through her, as if the universe itself leaned in to listen. Suddenly, a low rumble echoed across the valley. The villagers exchanged glances, brows furrowed with curiosity and trepidation. What could that be? Someone whispered, breaking the silence. Grace felt her pulse quicken, a mix of hope and unease gripping her heart. "Have no fear," she said, gathering courage. "This is a sign, a call from the depths of creation itself." Taking a deep breath, she steadied her voice. "Let us approach this mystery together." One by one, the villagers stepped closer to the edge of the stream, peering into the dark water that now shimmered strangely, reflecting the stars above with an intensity that felt otherworldly. It was as if the stream held a portal to a realm of divine secrets. The low rumble returned, but this time it resonated within their souls, wrapping them in unison. "Listen," Grace urged. "What does the water say?" With each ripple, whispers began to materialize, echoes of wisdom that penetrated their hearts. An overwhelming love enveloped them, and the fears that had lingered seemed to dissolve like morning mist. "We are not alone," Mr. Thompson murmured, his eyes bright with understanding. "Each of our dreams is supported by something far greater. They're threads of a divine narrative." The villagers nodded, their determination uniting like roots in solid ground. They stood shoulder to shoulder, united by a newfound sense of purpose, a divine purpose that was unfolding right in front of them. Grace let the stillness wash over her, allowing the energy of the moment to fill her with a profound peace. "Let us pour our hearts into this, together," she encouraged. Feeling the electricity in her veins, it was hope ignited. "We will birth something beautiful and true." As they encouraged one another, Grace felt the wind pick up, swirling around them with voices familiar yet unrecognizable, leading them. She felt the urge to move, to dance with this newfound energy. All at once, they lifted arms towards the heavens, swaying gently like the trees in a tender breeze. Joy bubbled in Grace's chest, spilling out into laughter and song. The night began to glow brighter, as if the stars themselves were joining in their celebration. But amidst this joyous communion, another thought emerged. It nagged at her spirit, like a gentle push towards the depth of understanding. What is the cost of this calling? She pondered. Will we bear the weight of our dreams? In that moment, a profound stillness returned. As they danced under the celestial canopy, Grace's heart ached with purpose. Could it truly withstand the challenges that lay ahead? What if each step forward leads us to an uncharted land? She thought. What if there's more to discover, hidden just beyond our reach? Engulfed by both excitement and apprehension, she carefully looked around at her community. Their resolve was steadfast. "Are we ready for the journey?" she asked, breaking the momentary silence. With a resounding cry, the villagers replied, voices lifting toward the heavens. "Yes." But even as their spirits soared, an undeniable shadow loomed in her thoughts. What trials would test their faith? The night held not only dreams but also whispers of challenges yet to come. As the celebrations continued, Grace felt the weight of their commitment rest heavy on her, and she could not shake the feeling that destiny awaited them on a path paved with both wonder and fear. What awaited them as they ventured deeper into this divine mystery? Would they find the strength to overcome the trials and bear witness to the truth waiting to be revealed? The night drew on, and the questions lingered, mysteries yet unexplored. The villagers danced under the stars, but Grace's heart thrummed with a different rhythm. Each twirl and joyful shout masked the unease lurking just beneath the surface. The glow of their hope illuminated the night, yet shadows still whispered of what lay beyond. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath, grounding herself in the warmth of their connection. Together, she thought, we will face this journey. The wind carried their laughter, but also a solemn reminder that faith would not come without its cost. As the dance began to fade, Grace felt a shift in the atmosphere. The whispers from the stream grew louder, weaving through the air and pulling her gaze downwards. It was as if the water yearned to share its secrets, to spill forth the story that lay hidden in its depths. Mr. Thompson stepped beside her, his brow etched with concern. "Grace, do you feel that?" he asked, his voice a mix of awe and fear. "The water, it's alive." She nodded, sensing the pulsing energy beckoning them closer. Stepping to the edge of the stream, Grace touched the cool water, feeling a surge of warmth ripple up through her fingers. Images flickered in her mind, visions of paths leading into darkness, yet igniting with the light of purpose. "What if we're meant to discover something truly profound?" she murmured. The villagers followed suit, forming a circle around the stream, each one drawn by the magnetism of the water's call. Together, they leaned in, hearts racing with anticipation. The murmurs of the ripples began to blend into a voice soft yet powerful, speaking truths that reached into their spirits. "Every dream carries responsibility. Every hope requires sacrifice," sang the stream, its voice woven with the essence of the night. A shiver traveled down Grace's spine. She turned to the villagers, gathering their eyes, searching for the collective strength she felt pooling around them. "What if embracing our dreams means letting go of our fears?" she proposed, her words laced with courage. "Letting go," Mrs. Jenkins said softly, her eyes reflecting the starlight. "It's true. So many shadows cling to us, holding our dreams hostage." "In that case," Mr. Thompson's voice rang out with newfound conviction, "we must release those shadows. We owe it to ourselves, to each other." As they collectively breathed in the moment, a warm glow enveloped them. Grace raised her arms again, beckoning the stream's energy, inviting the villagers to join her. "Let us cast aside our fears," she beckoned, the current of faith swirling around them. Together they exclaimed, "We are ready for the journey. We will not be held back." With each chant, the water shimmered more vibrantly. It sparkled as if the stars descended to join them. Grace's heart soared. This is our moment. We are the bearers of dreams. But in the midst of their rallying cry, the rumble returned. It was no longer just a distant echo. It felt closer, heavier, deep within the earth. The stream trembled beneath their feet, making ripples that transformed into waves. "What is this?" someone gasped, eyes wide with wonder. "The trials are near," Grace cried out, a mix of dread and exhilaration filling her throat. "Are we prepared to face them?" A heavy silence fell over the community, yet their resolve stood firm as one. They had ignited a fire within, but the winds of change were stirring, and questions lingered in the night's embrace. What challenges would they face as they stepped into the unknown? How would the weight of their dreams shape their path ahead? The night held both the glimmer of promise and the uncertainty of the journey. As the waves crashed softly at their feet, a divine mystery hung in the air. Would they find the strength to navigate the trials ahead? Or would the dreams they cherished lead them into darkness? The answers awaited as the night deepened. The tension in the air crackled, like electricity before a storm. Grace looked around at the villagers, their faces illuminated by the shimmering water and the glow of their fervent hopes. There was a collective heartbeat, a rhythm of faith pulsing with every breath they shared. The stream spoke still, but now it felt like it was more than just their dreams. It was a calling to action. "We must stand united," Grace shouted, her voice rising above the uncertainty. The moment we embrace the trials before us, we will be transformed. As if responding to her words, the ground rumbled again. The villagers exchanged glances, a mix of determination and fear in their eyes. They knew the time for hesitation was past. With a nod of agreement, they drew closer, forming a tighter circle around the water. Together, they would confront whatever darkness lay ahead at that moment. The stream surged higher, its waters gleaming with a captivating light. Grace stepped forward, kneeling by the bank. "Show us what we must see, O sacred water," she whispered, feeling the warmth of the current respond to her plea. The villagers mirrored her, kneeling in reverence, creating a sacred space filled with their shared longing for clarity. The water shimmered. Vivid images began to arise. Shadows danced alongside vibrant visions, a haunting yet beautiful tapestry of what was and what could be. Whispers of struggles and triumphs, hearts broken and healed unveiled before their eyes. Each image felt familiar, a reflection of their fears made tangible. "This is our truth," exclaimed Mr. Thompson, his voice filled with revelation. "We must acknowledge our past to forge our future. The path has been laden with challenges, but isn't every story of hope birthed from hardship?" Grace's heart thundered at his words. Yes, it was a reminder that their journey wasn't merely about overcoming external obstacles, but understanding the internal battles as well. Each face around her was a testament to resilience, to a spirit that would not be conquered by darkness. As they watched the water dance with clarity, a soft warmth enveloped them, and inexplicable peace settled in the air like a holy presence. They felt arms of comfort around them, as if the universe was assuring them that they held the power to change their narrative. She lifted her hands again, feeling the energy flow through her. "We will embrace the weight of our dreams and lean into the trials. They will not break us. They will shape us." Her voice surged with passion, igniting the flame within each heart. "Together, together," the villagers echoed, their voices harmonizing into a melodic affirmation that rose and fell like a wave in the night. Then, piercing through the unity of their chant, came a voice, a low hum that seemed to vibrate through the very stones beneath them. "You bear the light of your dreams, but can your spirit endure the flame?" The question echoed, resonating deeply within Grace's soul as uncertainty washed over her. The awesome weight of what was being asked loomed large. Could they withstand the trials designed to refine their spirits? Would their bond be strong enough to withstand the heat of testing? Each villager swayed softly, grappling with the question while the air thickened with anticipation. Shadows lurked at the corners of their minds, but the flicker of hope ignited a resolve that burned bright as they drew strength from one another. A single thought emerged, a powerful truth that united all of them under the vastness of the starry sky. What we will become is greater than what we have been. But as the water glinted and the murmur of challenges grew louder within them, a concern loomed large. Would their newfound strength be enough to see them through the trials that awaited them? A new mystery lay ahead, one that demanded faith in the face of the unknown. What fire were they truly prepared to walk through? The night deepened, and the shimmering water mirrored the starlit sky, a celestial canvas reflecting the hopes lit within each heart. Grace felt the weight of the villagers' collective anxiety and courage, teetering on the edge of transformation. She sensed that the air around them grew heavy with the promise of something extraordinary. "Listen closely," she breathed, feeling a pull within her spirit. "We are on the precipice of a revelation, a moment where our faith will be tested, and it will ignite a new dawn. Are we ready to face what comes next?" The villagers nodded, uncertainty still flickering in their eyes, but beneath it, a newfound determination began to bloom. Mr. Thompson, now resolute, stepped forward. "If we are to endure this trial, we must embrace our vulnerabilities. Only through raw honesty can we claim our power," he said, his voice steady like a lighthouse guiding weary sailors as if on cue. The water surged again, wrapping the group in its luminous embrace. The stream began to whisper in a melody, resonating with an echo of their desires and fears. The villagers held their breath. Grace closed her eyes, inviting the vision to come forth. Like a tapestry woven by divine hands, Images filled her mind, blinding light contrasted against the depth of darkness. She saw moments when doubt crept into their hearts. Yet in those moments, she also saw arms reaching out, helping hands of fellowship and love. "There lies our strength," she exclaimed, infused with a vibrant energy. "We rise whenever we lift each other up." Each villager felt the truth of her words pierce through the shadows. Hands gripped tighter, palms pressed together in unity, amplifying their resolve. "This is a time of acknowledgement," Grace declared, her voice strong and unwavering. "Each struggle has shaped us. We are a flower that grows from the cracks of the pavement. Our roots are intertwined, drawing from the same source of life. Together, we shall thrive even when the winds howl." The chanting resumed, a rhythmic beating that echoed like a heart, every person a vital part of the whole. Yet just beneath their song, the question from the depths lingered. Can your spirit endure the flame? The sound of crackling flames engulfed them for a moment, igniting anxiety anew. What did it mean to endure? What would that flame feel like? Each villager shivered, glancing at one another in silent anticipation. Then a voice, strong yet gentle like summer rain, broke through the tension again. "Endurance is not merely survival. It is transformation." The voice, ethereal and deep, seemed to emanate from the belly of the earth itself. Mystifying thoughts spun through Grace's mind. The trials laid ahead would not shatter them. They would hone their spirits like steel tempered by fire. Each challenge was an opportunity, beckoning them to rise above, to embrace a higher calling. "Together, we forge a path. Let us walk into the flames, shoulder to shoulder," Grace called out, her heart swelled with a sacred joy. A wave of agreement rippled among the villagers, their voices surged as one. "We will endure. We will transform." Feeling emboldened, Grace turned her gaze to the water once more. It shimmered and danced, revealing fleeting images of what lay ahead. They glimpsed shadows looming, trials of heartache, moments of doubt, but alongside them, images of triumph glimmered like stars breaking through clouds. But there remained a thinning veil of mystery. What exactly awaited them on the other side? As they knelt together, the questions settled in their hearts, a divine enigma pulsing with promise. Will we trust in the unseen design? What gifts await us beyond the fire? As reverberations of their chant hung in the air, the water replied with a whisper, "Step forward, and you shall see." The villagers knew the journey was only beginning. With renewed purpose, they began to rise, ready to confront whatever lay before them. What wisdom would emerge from the flames? As the villagers began to rise, a palpable energy filled the air, a mingling of trepidation and anticipation. Grace felt it deep within her core, a quiet yet powerful determination unifying them all. They stood, shoulder to shoulder, their hearts beating in unison, like drums heralding a new chapter in their lives. "Forward, friends! Together, we embrace the unknown," came Grace's fervent cry. Each step they took seemed to reverberate against the ground, echoing their resolve. The shimmering water transformed into a silver pathway stretching out before them, leading into the waiting darkness. They moved slowly at first, feeling the cool night air wrap around them like a comforting embrace, reminding them of their shared humanity. With each step, the lanterns that dotted the path glowed brighter, illuminating not just their feet, but also the spirit of connection that bound them. "Keep your hearts open," called Mr. Thompson, his voice a solid anchor amid the shifting reality. "This fire within us is meant to guide us toward understanding. It will illuminate our souls and reveal truths hidden just beyond our sight." As they journeyed deeper into the unknown, Grace could sense the warmth rising from within them, the collective courage igniting like a bonfire beneath the starry expanse. Each of their motivations flickered brightly, a symphony of desires, fears, dreams, and faith harmonizing into a singular essence. She closed her eyes briefly, leading them in a sacred intention. Let us visualize the flames not as a destructive force, but as a refining fire that will sculpt us into who we are meant to be. Picture the beauty on the other side. With that, a hush fell over them as they took a moment to envision their transformation. Vivid images danced across each mind's eye, hearts mending, relationships blossoming, purpose found. They saw themselves kindled anew, shining like lanterns against the night. The water began to ripple again, this time more vigorously, intertwining with their visions. Grace felt the vibrations deep into her being, a divine dialogue urging them onward. "Trust your hearts," she urged softly, "for they are our compass in this journey." Suddenly, shadows stirred at the edges of the path, swirling like leaves caught in a gust of wind. Anxiety surged through the group, unfamiliar and unsettling. Yet amid that turmoil, Grace found strength. "Fear not," she encouraged, "for even shadows hold lessons. Together, let us face whatever emerges." As the shadows solidified, their forms began to materialize not as enemies, but as reflections of doubts and past pains. Each villager saw before them the struggles they had endured. Grace's heart raced as she caught sight of her own shadow, a manifestation of the guilt she carried for being a guiding light in their lives. "In these shadows lie our stories," Grace said, her voice stronger now. "No longer hidden, they yearn to be acknowledged. Let us embrace them, not shun them." The villagers, now emboldened, stepped forward. One by one, they shared their fears, their truths, and the burdens they had carried alone for too long. As they spoke, the shadows shimmered, absorbing the pain and releasing beams of light, illuminating the night. Hope surged. Grace felt an indescribable warmth spreading throughout the group as they transformed fear into understanding. "Look," she shouted in joy, pointing at the magnificent colors radiating from the shadows, intertwining like ribbons in the air. "They are becoming part of our journey, not a barrier to it." In that moment of culmination, they sensed that together, they could endure anything. As the shimmering water welcomed them deeper into its embrace, Grace paused, gazing into its depths as it whispered gently to her. "Will we surrender fully to this path laid before us and embrace the radiant truth of our inner selves?" The question hovered above them, echoing like a quiet chant, lingering in the air as the flames of their resolve blazed brighter than ever before. What awaited them at the heart of their courage, hidden beyond the next bend? As dawn broke over the village, a soft gold was painted across the sky, a miraculous reminder of hope and new beginnings. Grace felt a shift within her, a profound understanding was taking shape. The hours spent embracing their fears had woven them tighter together, lifting their spirits like prayers toward the heavens. The shadows they confronted transformed into a vibrant tapestry of unity, a celebration of their shared journeys and stories. Gathered beside the now calm stream, the villagers exchanged glances filled with warmth and anticipation. Grace sensed a collective heartbeat pulsing through them, each thrum solidified by their newfound courage. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves, whispering words of encouragement. They were not alone. "Today we march forward," Grace announced, her voice infused with passion. "In the wake of last night, we know our power. We've faced our shadows and emerged radiant. So now let us bring that light into the world." Applause erupted, cheers filled the air, and a spark of faith ignited the hearts of every villager gathered, eager to embrace the day. But beneath this excitement, Grace felt a solemn truth begin to bubble. What they had uncovered was merely the beginning. Their spirits, now uplifted, had yet to understand the true heart of the journey ahead. The work of moving beyond their village, of harnessing their collective strength for greater good. "We must share this light," she said, opening her arms wide. "Each of us carries a piece of truth that beckons to be spread, to heal those beyond our little corner of the world." Her words danced in the soft morning air. The villagers nodded, eyes shining with possibility. Old Mr. Thompson stepped forward, a twinkle in his eyes that belied his years. "Every story matters, dear Grace, and we are called to voice them. Through our shared experiences, we can breathe life into hope where it's needed, the families lost in darkness, the lonely hearts crying for connection." With the spark of ideas illuminating their path, the villagers began to brainstorm. Some suggested sharing their stories through art. Others thought of hosting gatherings, inviting not just the villagers but neighboring communities into their circle of love. They envisioned planting community gardens, not just to nourish their bodies, but to cultivate relationships, intertwining lives like roots as plans unfurled. A feeling of purpose enveloped Grace. This was the gathering of dreams coming to fruition not just for them but reaching beyond the horizon into a broader embrace. Let us remember, Grace urged softly, that as we draw others into our circle, we must also listen. The hearts we meet may harbor their own shadows, stories left unspoken. Embrace them, for understanding is a powerful miracle. The villagers listened intently. Inspired and ready, they began to organize. They felt the divine energy of their community surge, filled with a shared strength that promised a future brighter than they had dared to dream. Time passed, days unfolded into weeks. One bright afternoon, the villagers set out, united and resolute. They decorated their town square, inviting friends and families. The laughter of the community echoed, mingling with the sweet scent of freshly baked goods lining tables adorned with flowers. Children played, the melodies of joy weaving like music through the air. Grace felt elated, seeing how far they had come together. But the recollection of quiet moments brushed against her, as well the shadows, the trials, and the relentless journey of fear. She breathed deeply, relishing in how transformations had rippled through them all. Amid the joy, an elderly neighbor approached, tears shimmering in her eyes as she clutched a bittersweet memory. "You've taught us so much, dear child," she said, voice tinged with emotion. "To live our truth and stand boldly for hope. It was your father's miracle that forged this bond, but now, it is our collective will that breathes life into something greater." As the villagers gathered closer, words of love and gratitude flowed, bonds woven deeper than mere friendship, a family forged in faith. Together, they recounted stories of hope blooming from their once individual fears. They sang, they danced, and the air shimmered with solemn beauty. Each person felt the miracle that lived among them, a manifestation of faith ignited in the simple act of coming together, sharing dreams, overcoming walls and reaching out to one another. As the sun began to set, Grace felt a deep, fulfilling peace wash over her. The village was no longer merely a place. It was a movement, a living testament to the resilient spirit within them all. "Tonight," she declared, "we celebrate our journey. Each fear faced, every story shared, has birthed strength, and together, we will journey beyond, towards even greater embraces of love and hope." With that, they lifted their voices into the night sky, hearts entwined as a chorus of joy resonated, knowing whatever awaited them beyond each twist and turn of this divine path, they would traverse it together, undeterred and emboldened. This was just the beginning. Let this story ignite a fire within you as well. You need to subscribe now to our channel so you don't miss the next exclusive faith stories that inspire change. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and spread this message of hope far and wide. Every interaction empowers this journey. Comment your thoughts and reactions about this ending. How has this story touched your heart? And don't wait even one more second. Share this video now with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation. Be the light that leads others to their own miracles.